Wylde with Jess, and we are here, and we are with Will Gralley, who is at the Salisbury Center tonight. He is going to spin all the way back from the late 90s into today's EDM and club hits. What's up, Will?
Thank you, Jess, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Hold the mic a little closer.
Here we go. Is that better?
There we go. That deep voice. There we go.
It is here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for tonight.
You know I love you. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of your house sets, but if anybody knows, down in Arlington, Clarendon Ballroom, many places. And when you have your birthdays, I just watched my Facebook flood with 80 million people at your birthday party at a restaurant. Yeah. My girlfriend's like, I'm at Will Gralley's party. And I'm like, well, why wasn't I invited?
Well, you know what? It's coming up. My birthday is June 4th. And so you guys will definitely.
Okay.
I will be there.
Spot? Do we have a spot picked out?
Because of my schedule, because of my DJ, wedding, everything schedule, I always do it whenever it just works out for my schedule. Yeah. I've had it in the middle of July. I've had it in the middle of August. So I think looking at what's happening now, it'll probably be like mid-July or even early August when I have it. But be on the lookout for the invites, you guys.
Do you have a spot, or you just picked a spot? Is it whatever opens up, you make it happen?
I've done a lot of different birthdays.
He has. He has. And I was very upset that I was not invited, but now we're making up for it, Will.
I apologize. I get capped.
I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. Instagram and Facebook, spamming.
We weren't tight, and then we became friends because I saw Carrie Ann, who is one of my best. You know Carrie Ann.
Of course.
She goes to your birthdays, and Preston. Preston,
yes,
Stefano, and I was like, "Who? Will Gralley? Oh my god!" And so I started listening, and then I think we were at our Christmas party, and I popped down to Arlington because you were spinning a house set. And it was phenomenal, dude. And I finally had to bail because I'm like, everybody here is 21, literally 21. As I was leaving, a 26-year-old professed his undying love to me. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're my Sunday. I was like, I gotta go. You're an excellent person. You're an excellent DJ. I really respect you. And tell us, you're here tonight until 1:30 a.m. I'm going to be dancing my ass off no matter what. So if you're out there listening, please get down to the Salisbury Center. You'll be on at 10. Dan Gray's on now, who's phenomenal. You can hear him in the background. He's awesome. Spinning till 1:30. And, we want to get more and more people to know that we do this kind of show. But give me a little bit of background, how you got into DJing, what the landscape for you. I know you're in New York, you're down in the Carolinas, you're all over the place. So give me that landscape.
Well, it all started in high school where I was the kid that brought his iPod to the house parties. And
how old are you? I mean,
probably, I didn't.
No, how old are you now?
I'm 32. I'm turning 32 in June, 31 right now. And back in the day, it was always like plugging into the DVD player of whoever's house.
At least you know
RCA with the 3.
Exactly. Yep. It was like a red, white RCA to aux.
Yep.
And, a 3-foot wire. But I would play music off of the iPad. Or not even, they didn't have iPads, iPods.
Yep.
And there was the one particular party where after playing music off of the iPod, I said to my friend, dude, if I DJ'd, would you listen to me? And we're just drunk on the car ride home. And he just says, yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I'd listen to you.
Fuck yeah.
And that just for whatever reason, I don't give him enough credit. Yeah, it just gave me that motivation to.
That's awesome. And what's his name?
Ryan Miller.
Ryan Miller, shout out.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yes, and unfortunately, it is not the Caps goalie, Ryan Miller, with the exact same name.
If it's not TJ Oshie, I don't want him.
Right.
Lauren Oshie, I love you.
We're off to college in like a week, and so everybody goes to Target, but for me and my family went to Kohl's, and there was a toy DJ controller. It said something for ages 9 and up. That's how rudimentary it was, but I bought that and took it to college and started messing around in my dorm. And what it allowed me to do was, instead of hitting next on an iPod, I was able to blend songs together.
Yep. So simple. Just being able to switch back and forth. So simple. And sorry to cut you off. Holy shit. Yes, I get it. Nowhere near you, but just the blend of the music and feeling the vibes and just being able to change the speed up and down. That's all you need to start with. Sorry, continue.
That's exactly what I did. I just started blending songs together. I remember begging whatever fraternity I could get a connection with to just let me DJ. And it's kind of funny thinking about it. There was no official start time. There was no real pay. There was no real direction. There was no protection from the equipment or drinks all around the equipment.
Or girls going, can you play this for me?
We
can go there. I have a funny story about DJ Rise about that. This is actually funny. We'll tell that later.
This is a little side note since we're talking about it now. I actually do not mind song requests, and my favorite thing is when they put their phone on their head and it's a compliment. And it's just like you're killing
to
it.
go on a date with me, and I was going to pay, and I still didn't get the recognition, so I just gave the fuck up.
So I'm not my DJing style. I like requests. It kind of jogs my memory of a song that I might not have thought of.
I like that you say that because as much as a DJ, it depends on the sort of DJ too, right? I think if you're at Echo in the middle set, you're not stopping that set, right? But I think I like I feed off young people. My favorite thing at Echo is looking down that crowd and just feeding off that vibe and seeing what they love, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you do that because they make it relevant. You show them the old stuff. We show them, or they show you the new, like, this is what we want to hear, right? And what are you seeing right now that is super relevant? You and I were talking a little bit about Taylor Swift. And so, like, what are you seeing in that scene?
Yeah. So with a lot of the younger 21 to 27-year-olds that are going out and partying.
And me.
Of course. There's always a transition of what's in. Like 2017 was the mumble rap era where like Motorsport was one of the best songs you could play at the time. And of course, going all the way back into the early 2000s with the big room EDM being a thing.
Progressive. I thank you, Avicii. And Daft Punk.
AKA Tim Berg. You know,
I missed him. R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. Tim. I think Daft Punk and Avicii reopened the doors. That not only reopened the doors to widen the spread of EDM, but then opened the doors for house music and now techno taking off. And now we see Spanish techno and Afro and all that. Like, it's just popping off.
Oh, yeah. I'm very happy with the transition of where mainstream music for a lot of the mainstream clubs has taken us. And a lot of it is attributed to TikTok. And what I'm kind of referring to is in the mainstream realm, because mainstream is subjective because you have Latin clubs that have only Latin DJs and only play Latin music, their version of mainstream. You have EDM clubs that only play EDM and their version of mainstream. So me talking about open format mainstream, where you're able to play everything from Katy Perry to Hardwell to the newest hip hop to the newest, reggaeton, whatever it might be.
Reggaeton?
What we're finding is that the 2010s bangers are in.
Amen. Dude, I see it. And what was funny is James Hype, I would say late 2022, brought back in the 80s strong. The 80s was just banging out strong. And now I see the 90s this year and the end of last year coming back. So I agree. And then to that jump to the mid 2010, 15 even. I'm seeing a lot of 15 pop up.
I'd agree with that with a little bit of a twist. I think he's adapting to the culture of what the music the kids want.
I'm just saying, like, I see that lead in of bringing it back. And I love that because I think every music generation thinks they're the best generation, but there was great music back then and it was so different from what's going on now.
Yeah.
What is your favorite music? Because I went to your house at not sure what to expect because I know you. What I super love about you is you're so engaging. You take that crowd, you feed that energy, and you slam it back to them. Like I watched Clarendon Ballroom. There's no one standing around. I went upstairs and I'm like, holy shit. They're so you're feeding off that energy and giving them. But what is your favorite thing to DJ?
You know, it's really interesting that you asked that question because for the longest time and what a lot of people think about the identity of a DJ is they go and wherever they play is them. But I come from a background of what's called open format DJing, which I mentioned before, which means I'm put in a room and I'm supposed to read that room.
Read the crowd.
And play whatever it might
like.
I might have to do 90% hip hop. I might have to do 90% reggaeton. Typically, I know these things going into it, but that means I don't necessarily have the unique identity that a lot of these new DJs are branding from themselves because I can count on maybe one hand how many new open format DJs there are where
not a lot anymore.
Right.
Not a lot.
Every new DJ that I know, and there's like 30 of them that I know personally, started DJing the past 6 months. And it's really funny when
you've been doing this a long time.
14 years now. 14 years. And I'm right in the middle of where a lot of the DJs I'm connected with are when it comes to their tenureship. But all these new DJs are USB DJs and they only want to play house. They want to do Afro house. They want to do deep house. They want to do electro. They want to do drum and bass. They want to do bass house. that's all they play. You know, they can't
Mhm.
necessarily step into a wedding scene that wants to do open format or a corporate party. They just want to be
Correct.
branded for them. So when you ask me what I like to play, it's something that I've actually tried to get back in my roots of, because
Yeah.
I've, for the longest time, associated what I like to play with a crowd reaction. There is nothing like having 800 people jumping up and down to what
There's
you're playing.
something about that rush. Like when I was at Aoki, right? I've seen Aoki a million times, and I was side stage this time. That was great for Aoki. But that rush of the crowd, that's what kept me engaged with it. I mean, Aoki's awesome. What makes it great DJ, and what I can relate you to with possibly him, right? Is that when I see Steve up there doing his thing, he's been around for fucking ever. I mean, so have I. We're dinosaurs, right? But it's every time it's like it's his first time. And when I see you, that's the energy I see. And that's what I'm hearing from you. You're feeding off crowd. It's all energy.
I do think it's important to really love your craft and appreciate, even
Amen.
with some of the gigs that aren't as packed out, with some of the gigs that aren't as hyper energetic.
Who cares? Keep it going.
Paid practice, and at the same time, dude, we're getting paid to play music. And I've made a fantastic living, and there is a fantastic living to be made from DJing. So even those gigs where I might have to play background music, like at STK, it's about 3 to 4 hours of background music. It's still like, I'm getting paid just to play music, and I get a free steak. You know?
There you go. I remember going, does STK not in DC anymore? Didn't it close?
They reopened.
They did?
About a month
I'm
and
a
a half
little
ago.
excited. I love
6 to 8
STK.
weeks
Back in
ago.
the day, I used to go when Rise was DJing there. Remember that?
All the
Wait,
time.
Pinks
fun.
me agent. Yes. We had a really good time. I brought people from Philly in, and all of them would take good care of them. But going back to my question, if you had to pick one, what is you're up there and I'm like, I like this for me, not for the crowd, for me.
You might be shocked at this answer, and I gotta
I'm
go
not.
back to what I listen to in my free time on the car ride here, what I listen to in the gym. It's got to be like 2000s punk rock.
Really?
If I could do
That's
Name
awesome.
some bands, please. Name some bands.
Name some, yeah.
Dude,
What would you?
Rise Against.
I like
there's just
Rise
so many
Against.
that are just rushing to my head. Yellow Card.
Yellow Card's awesome.
182.
Blink.
Fall Out Boy.
Taking Back Sunday,
Taking
brand
Back
new.
Sunday.
It's super funny to
Brand
me
new.
because I think you're too young to remember this, but HFS, you remember
Yes.
HF Festival?
Merriweather Post Pavilion.
Okay, well, I was even longer ago.
Sorry, this was
But I went to every one. So I'm eclectic. Like when I pop off and party, I want to hear this music, right? The beats per minute when I work out, same thing. But I love all music, right? I was at every fucking one, dude. Every HFS. Almost got killed at Limp Bizkit, got crowd rush. I'm going to see them again.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
But yeah, so I appreciate that. I think
do wanna
that's
add a
awesome.
little caveat to that, because
There's nothing
doing an
wrong
emo
with that.
night, I can't necessarily do 4 hours of emo night, right?
Oh,
I
Jason would
wanna-
love to go. He's emo as fuck. He would love to participate.
Absolutely. If you can't tell by the tattoos.
My style has been so open format for so long, is that my style is where I get to play a little bit of everything, because I've fallen in love with a lot of different genres, a lot
Me
of
too.
different energies.
I like that statement. I'm going to use that. I've fallen in love with it. I fall in love with music day after day. Like we were talking about Andre Bocelli and the Priest. I listened to Andre Bocelli before going to Echo when I went to Aoki. Like it's crazy. Like music, I get what you're saying. I will say, I think you're a phenomenal person. Your energy is just super. You're extremely kind, and I like that. But authentic.
Thank you.
You come honest. I like that.
I paid her to say this before the show.
On top of paying
Hold
for
on.
the
I
show.
think it's important to say, because I've talked to a lot of DJs that are up here and, local, right?
You've been
and
in this
some are
game
like-
for a very long time.
Some are like, some say, oh, well, I'm just bored tonight. I don't feel like playing. I'm like, you fucking got paid to play. Like, this is your when I do a podcast, I don't go, oh, I'm bored tonight. And I'm not even getting paid. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, there's one of my good friends, Juan, a.k.a. DJ Conflict, a.k.a. my favorite DJ on social media.
Well, we'll find, what's his handle? DJ Conflict?
My favorite DJ on Instagram.
Oh, my favorite
Yeah,
DJ. Okay.
He's huge influential part in the DJ community from a national and even global perspective.
Excellent.
With the content he puts out, his advice that he gives to DJs, and just what he's done in the industry when it comes to creativity of DJing. But he says, you got to realize that there are probably 100 to 500 to 1,000 DJs that would literally kill to have the gig that you're complaining about.
100%.
The gig that you don't want to do, the gig that you feel zoned out or too good for, is that there's 1,000 that would literally give almost everything they have to just open up at that spot.
And I think that applies to everything in life. Doesn't matter what you do, whether it's podcasts, whether it's owning gyms. I think that applies to everything.
I think Jason owns a shop gym, which is a great gym, by the way. See, I'm being
that
nice
Jess
to
doesn't
you.
work out.
Do you know a guy named Jared Austin?
I do.
He's on his way.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I am extremely intimidated. I'm in shape. I'm intimidated by that gym. It scares me, and I'm not intimidated by much. Anyway,
it's a big
I don't know if
open
that's
gym
like
with friendly people, you know.
Yeah. But can I add this back when we were talking about like songs and switching things up, like early 2000s, and I've got a playlist here that's got bangers from
he started
early 2000s.
crying over on the way here, I'm sure.
No, I actually was listening to it on the way here. But like when a DJ is able to mix up Sandstorm or Call on Me or
That
All I
better
Ever
be-
Wanted,
Jeff has
things
to hear
like
that tonight.
Like when you're able to throw those songs in with the
Wow,
older and the
Jason,
newer,
I didn't
I've
even
got-
know you
Jeff,
knew this shit.
I just because I stay home and cry because I'm super emo, as you say, in my pillow. I mean, Sweet Dreams. There's so literally what I do most of the time, and I'm not.
I
not
highly
ashamed
doubt
by
it. He's so full of shit.
But it's things like that, and being able to bring back some of the stuff from the early 2000s or the late 90s and throw it in and mix it, and like have that fun. Take the crowd requests. That to me is what truly brings the night up.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And what you're really talking about is the power that sound and songs have to bring forth memories and emotions.
Heart.
Don't make me
Your heart,
cry.
like it's,
I said to
my hair stands up. And
So
when
you
that
know
song's
my
come on-
co-host Frankie, right? The other day we're listening to Alesso, what's it called? Lose Myself. Well, that my 40th birthday sold out the middle mezzanine to Echo. And we're just like but when you feel I think where music takes a different turn for different people, and I think it definitely takes this for DJs, is when you feel music, when you get the chills, when you do that. Not everybody does that, and I think it's a true blessing.
I like to, when I play all these songs so frequently, whereas the person I'm playing it for might have only heard it twice in the past 4 or 5 months, so it's a kind of different reaction.
Yep.
It really helps when I see the smiles on people's faces, or when I see them jumping up and down, or I see
Feel
them
the
singing
energy.
along.
Or the tissues tonight for Frankie and I.
Yeah. Because as corny as it is, like, you know, Party in the USA,
Oh, I love that song.
all day,
Thank
all
you.
day.
the reaction that the girls get, and like Hips Don't Lie, and like even this is a low key banger that I like to say I brought to the Northern Virginia area. And,
Let's
you know,
hear
put
it.
on
I wanna
social
hear it.
media. It is a remix to the High School Musical theme song.
Oh, yes, I like. No, I like. I know what you're talking about.
Yes, and just when the piano intro hits, everybody's like, oh, "No way!"
Yep, yep.
And even the guys
And
that are
that's
like
when the
rolling
hands-
their eyes,
But they know it.
The moment the words come, they
know
start
it.
singing it, and at the same time,
Yeah.
another DJ mentor of mine said, "You play for the chicks, not for the dicks." And I try
Because
to
the
follow that
chicks
as
will
much
make
as
the
possible.
dicks fucking dance. I promise you. I like that. John, clip that. Play for the chicks, not for the fucking dicks.
Oh, you're spot on. Absolutely
That's
spot on.
also my life motto
Sorry,
as
Mom.
well.
God, I love you, Jess.
We don't play for the dicks.
John,
Real
clip
quick.
that. I love you as a compliment.
Real quick. What do you see? You and I two things I want to ask you about, and then we'll jet out of here because I want you to go on because I'm going to dance all night. One is the wedding story. We talked a little bit. What is this wedding story? I want to hear it.
This is a
I
really
hope
fun
it's
one.
dirty. I hope it's from last weekend because I saw who you were with, and I saw everybody
I was
you were
like,
with.
wait,
last-
what?
Was this last weekend?
No, this was like 6 years ago.
Oh,
It was one of
damn
my
it.
first like 20 weddings.
I was hoping it was a good story. I saw your pics at the wedding. You were just recently. I was like, oh, those are good people. That's a fun wedding.
Those were so fun. And side note, the gratitude I get from brides and grooms, like how
Aw.
on their special day,
Amen.
and I know that I can bring a certain unique quality to a wedding that they like me for when it comes to seeing me live in a club versus some of the traditional wedding DJs or their styles. You know, everybody's different. I'm not saying
Yeah.
one's better than the other, but The appreciation they showed me last weekend was, I mean, the groom went out of his way to like thank me 10 times, and the bride was like,
Well, who you're
so
with, I
ecstatic.
don't want to say their
Yeah.
names because they didn't give permission, but they're great people. They're so fucking fun.
I'm glad
I've
you know
partied
that.
with them many times in over 15 years. So
I love that.
you were in good company.
So here's the quick and dirty story. It's not really dirty.
I hope it's dirty. We like dirty. My podcast tribe called Jess.
I wish it was. It's
We don't-
a little bit more tragic than anything, and not in that
Oh
way.
no.
So I'm
Oh no.
I'm getting paid my full wedding rate to drive all the way to Asheville, North Carolina, and DJ just the party part of the reception. That means no ceremony.
So
no
was this a
pre-ceremony.
Rihanna Indian? Did you see the Indian wedding Rihanna was at?
I did not.
And same, the pre-wedding, and my friends were there. And I was like, that's the pre-wedding to the other 9 weddings. And I was like, wait, what?
Oh.
$1 million for Rihanna. Anyway.
That does not surprise me
Yeah,
at all.
no.
So
All right, so go ahead.
I didn't have to do ceremony. I didn't have to do cocktail. I didn't have to do entrances, no dinner, no speeches, no first dances, no cake cutting, no bouquet toss. Just that all happened in a separate room. And they had another room where I set up, and some guy said, hey, let's go dance. And everybody came in and danced. The second song I played was a request from like little Archie, little cousin. And the bride like play
like
his song.
Did he have
was
red
about to go
hair?
to bed.
Yeah.
He might have.
He might have.
And he requested the whip and nene.
Oh, shit.
Now-
Classic.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, nene.
Now, this
Can we
is,
play that tonight?
we can do that.
I have a little dance to that.
There is a dance. Now,
I can do it.
I love that. This is where the ex-professional ballet dancer uncle in his like mid 80s, late 70s starts killing it. I mean, he's doing the splits. He's doing these moves. He
Stole the show.
Could
I love it.
absolutely. He's in the center of the
But
dance
I
floor.
love that.
Right?
Hell
He's
yeah.
killing it.
It's
Hell
always
yeah.
someone like that at a wedding that surprises you. You
John
would not
DJ,
expect it. 100%.
he DJs as well.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So here's what
So he
happens.
starts killing it.
Killing it, circle around him, and there's a part of the song that says, now the stanky leg, and now break your leg, and he starts doing the stanky leg. Then he breaks his leg.
Like legit
Legit
broke that shit.
breaks his leg.
Drops to the ground.
Drops to the ground. Everybody
That's
thinks
awesome.
he's faking until
Oh.
you hear a grown man in his
Uncle Nick
80s
is screaming.
in pain.
What's his name, Nick?
I'm just joking. I don't
you know,
fucking know.
I like
I'm just throwing it out there.
It was something that haunts me to this day. I can hear it. Not 10 seconds later, my fog machine that claims to have fog that does not set off the fire alarm sets off the fire alarm in the kitchen of this massive resort.
This is a great story.
Now, what I was told later on is that fire alarms in the kitchen in this particular like 5-star resort triggers a response from the fire department. So guess
So
what?
they have to respond.
15
So their wedding
fire
was
trucks.
fucked.
Yeah, 15 fire trucks came and we all had to leave, and that was basically the end of the wedding. It turned out perfect because the groom was a volunteer firefighter, immediately bonded with the firefighters, and they ended
good.
up taking like pictures on the fire truck and everything, and like even playing some
What happened to
games
Uncle
on the
Nick?
Fire truck. Oh, he got taken away in an
It was
ambulance.
good.
Yeah, he was good.
Conveniently, they showed up too.
And Will was behind. We got whip. We got my nene.
And then everything went horribly wrong. So basically, I got my full wedding rate for just DJing 2 songs, and then
Stop it.
And
That was
on
it.
that
What
note,
a story.
Yeah. Oh, 4 years to 5 years later, they asked me to DJ the cousin's wedding, and they tell this exact story to everybody in attendance because they also, as a family, thought it was just absolutely ridiculous what happened.
that's fucking
in a good
awesome.
way.
I think,
Fucking awesome.
Was
Retention,
the
I
uncle at
killed
the
it.
next wedding?
Yeah.
but those are the people you want to chill with, right? Because those are the people who are like, fuck it. This was like what happened. We're going to make a memory out of it,
Yeah.
right?
And nothing on you with the fog and the haze because same shit. Having an event company, John, you fucking know. Whether it's the fog, the haze, some stuff does, some stuff doesn't, set shit off, whatever. The fact that they were not upset and pissed off about that,
Yeah, I
they
like
were like,
that.
let's just make it work.
And
This is great.
this
Fire
couple-
department shows up. He's like, hey, officers, what's going on?
Yeah.
As a firefighter myself for 5 years, like, fuck yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah. I
dope.
forgot you did that.
Yeah, that's dope.
But as a little side note, too, I went to Radford University.
My son went his first year at Radford. He's finishing up this coming year at JMU. He just got home. He's partying in Manassas. Thank God help me.
Oh, I love that.
Probably
Well,
get a phone call.
I'm glad he made it out of Radford.
Me too.
I've DJ'd over 130 or 128 Radford weddings. I've done
Holy
over 180
shit.
weddings as a whole, but about 128 of them have been Radford.
Oh, I
alumni.
forget. What's the
fucking
saying about? Never mind. I'm not gonna get.
Now, come on, Jess. Come on, Jess.
The Radford Walk of Shame. The Radford God, I forget the name.
I don't know
but
if I want to
anyway.
go there.
Do it. I like it.
Oh,
Come
no,
on. The rad.
I don't know.
No,
what it
my
was called. I
son
know
and
we
my
had Quad Fest there.
ex-boyfriend always said this about the girls the next day.
Walk of Shame or something?
No, everybody does a walk of shame.
Yeah, I
I'll
don't
think
know
of
if
it.
it's-
So
We'll
is there
get
something
back to you.
special for Radford?
I don't know.
So real quick, what would you say the trends are? We were talking a little bit about the Swiftie thing because I'm techno house music and Taylor for fucking ever.
Oh, yeah.
I love her.
You are Taylor Swift's #1 fan.
I don't think I'm number one.
Number two.
I
Definitely number
appreciate her lyrics. I don't give a fuck what anybody says until they write 67 songs and have
#1 fan right here.
274 songs that they co-wrote totally all together. Then everybody else can stand the fuck down.
See, you love
Sorry.
her. You're
If you
so
know those
passionate.
numbers. And,
#1 fan.
I just
That's
did,
why.
I did a segment on my show on it. That's how I know.
Well, basically, kind of attaching this
Yeah.
to what we previously talked about, the open format concept is so free right now.
Yeah.
For example, I could not play ABBA Dancing Queen in a nightclub prior to like 2021
What?
without getting Stone band management being
'Cause it's
like, what are
old.
you doing?
What?
At the time, it was old, but it wasn't old
But who
enough.
doesn't love that
Nobody knew it.
song?
There was no
What do
positive
you mean nobody
association.
knew it?
No,
I get
everybody
where
knew
you're
it,
coming
but
from.
Yeah, nobody.
It's an
no,
oldies. It's not cool anymore.
Yeah,
it
nobody
wasn't
in
cool
Vegas,
enough yet.
Miami, New York,
Yeah.
any of the major hubs were playing ABBA, Gimme Gimme, or Dancing Queen
Underground they
prior
were.
to 20.
Gimme,
Underground.
Gimme is one of the fucking hittest song or hittest. Jesus, that's not even a word. It's one of the top songs that DJs play right now.
Oh, 100%. And that's because a lot of the younger generation,
Yes.
they demand
They
it.
love it.
They're requesting
So I
it,
get
they
where you're
wanna sing
coming
it.
from.
Yeah, so a lot of the mainstream clubs out there all over the country, they'd be playing these like remixes of songs like ABBA or like the 70s, the 80s. It's all in right now. And so
Very
I love
in.
where
Disco.
we are.
I love
make-
how disco is being integrated too.
Yes.
Like as of February, I heard it a little bit about 2 years ago. And then as of February, I started hearing a lot of disco back in. And I think it needs to be integrated in the proper way, right? Like I don't just want to hear like a straight disco song, but the way the transitions are and I going back real quick before we end to what you said. To me, I listen to the intricacies of music, the niches people put, those little drops you put in throughout. And I think transitions are probably one of the most important things in DJing that people that are on the come up miss. Like, don't worry about what's popular. Make sure that when you transition, you keep that energy. You keep
I have a side
taking.
note about this.
Hold on. When I go see a set, whether it's your set or whether it's Will Clark or James Hype, it doesn't matter. Fisher, it really doesn't matter. I want to go on that journey. And when you don't take me on that journey, I did not get my money's worth. And it's the one thing you do. Take me on the fucking journey.
I appreciate that. And I truly agree because that's how I was raised. The importance
Correct.
of a smooth transition, a transition that makes sense, a transition that adds energy and takes the people in the direction you want to go. But
Amen.
what I've learned from other DJs, and I'm not going to say less experienced or like not as good DJs, but just I love listening to all other DJs of all levels because that's where you can learn the most.
As you should.
The power of song selection and energy on the mic versus wordplay transitions or the smoothest EDM transitions, it is all about the crowd that you're in front of.
I do agree with that, Will. I do agree with that because I think that's important, especially at a certain age group. But I've been at any age group, and that dip is so far off that you're like, you just took me out of my zone. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So as
Sometimes it's a strategy too, because
Yes.
if you need to change it up and you
Well,
just wanna
fair.
drum something on the one and be
you
like,
little kids,
we're
just
here now.
shut the fuck up.
So I want to know, what were you saying about Taylor Swift? To,
Oh, yeah.
Bring it back to Jess. What were you saying about Taylor Swift?
Oh, just the
Throwing
concept
hers.
that we were kind of macro discussing the concept of playing for the chicks, not for the dicks, the openness of sing-along
Love
songs.
this.
And that wasn't necessarily the case 3, 4, 5 years
It's
ago.
very much the case right now.
Very much the case right now. And I'm about it. You know, sometimes
I like that you're
Some of my-
about. I think it's very cool. You're into it.
one of my favorite open format kind of segues is Carrie Underwood before he cheats into Man, I Feel Like a Woman, into
Man,
Love
I
Story,
feel
Taylor
like
Swift.
I've seen
Banger
Shania
after banger
Twain.
after banger.
And that gets the
Hold
people
on,
going.
I've seen Shania Twain almost as many times as I've seen Aerosmith, and I've seen Aerosmith 10 times. Yeah,
Wow.
and
If
people
you
don't
had to go to one concert right now, Shania Twain or Aerosmith, who would it be on the fly?
Aerosmith because he'll die soon.
Touche.
And I got to see them. Well, it's true.
No, there's nothing
Facts
wrong.
are-
I'm just
facts are
saying,
facts.
touche. I get that.
The likelihood of Shania still being around and kicking, highly likely. Him, not so much.
One of my biggest regrets
Drugs
is
are
not being
bad.
able to see Linkin Park.
I saw,
Bro,
so
don't
I
even
saw-
get me started on that.
I
We
know.
were too freaking young for that shit, man.
So I saw
Tickets
Lincoln
were
several
our parents
times.
weren't going to let us go unless they were playing Warped Tour. And
Right? That
Linkin
was back
Park
when
didn't
no
play
cell
Warped
phones,
Tour.
where it's like, hey, I'm going to go to Texas and guess I got to call home on a payphone to give you an update. Other than that, you're just going to maybe see me in a week. You know?
2003 to 2012, maybe 14. Like that was it. That was the prime. We didn't. I didn't have that luxury. Sorry, I was in college. I didn't have that. Couldn't
Sorry
do that.
for your bad luck because I saw them several times, but I just listened to
God,
them
I love you, Jess. You're
in
so heartless
concert
and beautiful.
And I will say, I was listening to them in the gym the other day, and I'm like, God damn, that sucks. Sucks for people. But I got to see Aerosmith with Run DMC before what's his name died, and I was very, very happy about that.
That's awesome.
The concert that I don't even think it was a concert. I think it's an older video that's been populating on like social media. It was Linkin Park playing in the subway.
Yep. I've seen that.
And
Was that one of the Jimmy Kimmel kind of thing?
No, it had nothing to do with that. This
No,
is probably
they have- if you go to
2003,
YouTube, they do a lot of cool-
2004.
Okay.
Old. Like they were just playing.
I think back then that was a very popular thing to do, like random pop-ups.
And it was
It's kind of
in
like
the
today,
end-
but it's different.
in the subway. They played in the end.
Yeah.
And every single person was singing along. It was wild.
That was wild.
You saw that?
100%.
I still go,
100%.
like-
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I went to every HFS, I went to every Ozfest, and then I go to Echo. I literally left Country WMZQ partying all day, pulled in my driveway. Millie, who I think you might know as well, pulled in. Literally, I pulled in, she pulls up. Let's go to Echo. And we went to Benny Benassi and sat at a table. And I'm like, well, my day hasn't ended. Country to Benny.
That is fucking dope, though.
amazing
That's
endurance.
fucking dope.
That's what that is.
She
Well, I love
has the
music.
best. Not like I know.
I love music. Anyway, Will, I am so happy to have you. I would love to have you back in here. I could talk music all day long. Jason,
I love it.
that you sat in.
Thank you for having me.
I'm actually very impressed with you right now. I might have to give you a cookie. Anyway, Will, excited for you to go on. I adore you to death. Please come back anytime. Talk about the Salisbury Center. If you're out there listening, please come down. He will be on till 1:30, and you're just the best. And the
Thank
best
you.
Human. That's what matters most. Stay humble, graceful, and just keep leveling up because I think you're awesome.
I appreciate those kind words. That's how I live up to the
Absolutely.
hype.
And guys, tune in next time. We are actually going to be on the street in DC. Johnny Caniford and I have a surprise for you, as well as Jeff, but we're not going to tell you just yet. But we will be back with Wylde with Jess with lots of surprises to come in the coming weeks. And I will reveal that probably around May 18th. All right, guys, take good care. Later. Jason, you got to zip my...
WS